Shana Tova. Surely you are familiar with the children's classic storybook, We're Going on a Bear Hunt, retold by Michael Rosen. The book recounts the tale of four siblings who decide one morning to go on a bear hunt. We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. The family travels through the long, wavy grass, swish, swash. A deep, cold river, splash, splosh. Thick, oozy mud, squelch, squirch. As well as a big, dark forest, a swirling, whirling snowstorm, and finally, a narrow, gloomy cave. With each obstacle, they proclaim, we can't go over it. We can't go under it. Oh no, we have to go through it. While the book's rhythms and rhymes and watercolor illustrations are intended for young children, the truth is, the book packs great wisdom for us too. Because isn't life so often like a bear hunt? We too face obstacle after obstacle, and we too realize we can't go around them. We have to go through them. As I reflected on Rosh Hashanah, for so many of us, the depths of life's worries and struggles no doubt weigh heavier than ever before. We worry about record-high anti-Semitism, war and suffering in the land of Israel and its impact on Jews everywhere. We carry concerns about injustice, political corruption, toxic polarization, our health and the health and safety of our loved ones, the economy, the environment. We yearn for stability in an uncertain and chaotic world. It all can feel like too much. And I'll be honest with you, I feel it too. Statistics confirm what so many of us are feeling. According to the American Psychiatric Association, U.S. adults are feeling increasingly anxious. In 2024, 43% of adults said that they feel more anxious than they did the year before. That's up 37% in 2023 and 32% in 2022. 70% of respondents were particularly concerned with current events, especially the economy, elections, and gun violence. And this isn't only true for adults. Studies show that teens and children are also experiencing higher levels of anxiety. This pervasive anxiousness seems to plague us all, more and more each year, regardless of age or any other differentiator. This epidemic of anxiety here in our country and all over the globe provides the foundation upon which my teacher, Rabbi Michael Marmer, builds what he terms bear hunt theology. He draws on that children's storybook and he asks, when we find ourselves in indecent times, do we want to look for the resources necessary to face up to extremely challenging realities? In other words, rather than avoiding that which causes us anxiety, how might we, like those children in the storybook, find the courage to face these challenges head on? To what or to whom might we turn to guide us through? First, I want to be very clear what I mean by anxiety. While I worked as a therapist before becoming a rabbi, I am no expert in clinical anxiety like I know so many of you are. Hear me. I am not speaking about the clinical term found in the DSM, the Clinical Professional Diagnostic Manual. Instead, tonight on Kol Nidre, a night of deep emotions, a night, as the psalmist wrote, we rejoice in our trembling. My focus is the ordinary worries and fears that we all carry. I want to honor those concerns. I want us to turn to Torah and Jewish tradition to find wisdom in how we can navigate. The Hebrew Bible speaks of de'agah, anxiety. In Proverbs, we read, if there is anxiety in a person's heart, let them squash it. At first glance here, anxious feelings are meant to be conquered or eliminated. But the verse continues. A good thing can turn our anxiety into joy. Meaning, anxiety isn't only something to be quashed, but under the right conditions, we have the power to transform it. Our tradition even suggests that anxiety, in the right measure, can be useful. Rabbi Marmer only partly jokes when he teaches, anxiety is like cholesterol. There is a good kind and there's a bad kind. There is a kind that hardens your heart and thickens your arteries, and there is a kind which causes the heart to race and gives life some edge and some meaning. Similarly, a 19th century scholar taught, anxiety can be a spiritual strength, for it represents concern about the future. In this sense, anxiety is a reminder that we are alive, that we care, and that we can summon strength to swim up from the depths of doubt. Jewish tradition also distinguishes between two types of fear, anxiety's cousin, often used as a synonym in our text. The first kind of fear is paralyzing. Think of the wandering Israelites who, upon hearing of those giants in the promised land, froze with terror. This kind of fear is called pachad. It's the fear of the hungry tiger lurking in the shadows, ready to pounce. It's the tiger, and it's the very idea of the tiger, both real and imagined. As Rabbi Alan Liu explains, pachad also refers to a projected or an imagined fear, the fear of the phantom, the fear of the object imagined. It's astounding how often such fears become the organizing principles of our lives and how much they close us off from the world. But there's another kind of fear. As one Hasidic master teaches, there are two types of fear, one that builds and one that destroys. A fear that breaks a person, taking away his last vestige of hope, is a destructive fear. If one fears his enemy to the extent that he is paralyzed by fear, he has lost all hope of victory. There is nothing left of the person. Totally decimated, why bother offering even token resistance? The fight is over before it started. Whereas one paralyzes us, the other helps us to cultivate hope and motivates us to act. In his memoir titled Chasing Shadows, Hugo Gryn writes about his experience in Auschwitz with his father. In the book, he recalls a story of Hanukkah in the camp, when his father chose to use his ration of margarine in the absence of a proper Chanukiah. Sadly, they were unsuccessful, both because they couldn't get the margarine to light and because it was a waste of valuable resources. However, an important lesson was learned nonetheless. Grin reflects. As we dispersed and made our way to the bunk beds, I turned not so much to my father, but on him, upset at the fiasco and bemoaning the waste of precious calories. Patiently, he taught me one of the lasting lessons of my life, and I believe that he made my survival possible. Don't be so angry, my father said to me. You know this festival celebrated the victory of the Spirit over tyranny and might. You and I had to go once for over a week without proper food, and another time almost 3 days without water, but you cannot live 3 minutes without hope. More precious than food or water or air, hope is what sustained Grin and his father, just as hope has sustained our people's resiliency throughout the generations. I submit to you, herein lies an important lesson for each of us as we navigate the uncertainties, the anxieties, and the fear that we face today. Tikva, hope. It's aided the Jewish people's resiliency and is the antidote we seek now as we navigate through the challenges of our day. The Hebrew word tikva, or hope, appears to come from 2 etymologies. First, tikva is like the word kav, a string or a thread. As small and seemingly insignificant as a thread, a string can help guide an individual along a pathway forward. Or like a deep-sea diver, their guide rope not only leads them up, but out of the depths, towing them upward to the surface again. So too can the thread of hope we seek guide and tug us up out of the proverbial sea of doubt and despair. Second, as the prophet Jeremiah proclaims, Mikveh Yisrael Adonai, which is often translated as the eternal is the hope of Israel. But if we translate the verse more literally, we might glean that hope is like a mikveh, a ritual bath in which one immerses to mark a new chapter in their book of life. The warm mikveh waters engulf our bodies like in the womb, providing nourishment and protection as we grow. We emerge from the waters renewed and strengthened, better prepared to meet life's challenges. Life's worries and struggles no doubt weigh heavier now than they have ever before. However, on this Yom Kippur and every day, we have a choice. We can allow our fear and anxiety to paralyze us, to divide us, and to stop us from journeying forward. Or we can choose, as Jewish tradition invites, to turn our anxiety into blessing by engaging in the work of this season. Tefillah, teshuvah, tzedakah, the soul work and the introspection, as well as acts of compassion and justice. Remember, our actions matter. And while our good words and our deeds might have nothing to do with what actually happens, they might make it easier for us to deal. As my teacher, Rabbi Marmer, suggests, we are on a bear hunt. There are formidable challenges. A beloved friend receives a grim diagnosis. A constitution is in crisis. A dream is under threat. Empathy seems lost. We cannot quash the anxiety, but we must not let it squash us. Somewhere, such as here, there is a reservoir, and somewhere there is a thread. Spurred by anxiety and not simply paralyzed by them, we have work to do. There are pools to dig and secure. There is thread, which if we cannot locate it, we must weave it ourselves. So as we begin this new year, let us come together with faith and with hope and with the courage that it's going to take for us to face the challenges before us. Shana Tova, Gemar Chatima Tova, may our actions merit this coming true.